Hello my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome finally my friends to Jamii Conservation Park. Last week I put out a update episode on Tropical Wings Zoo. I will link it up for you my friends in case you've not seen it, but during the course of that episode I did say I was going to be jumping into JCP and kind of addressing what's going to happen with it and the future of the series. Now believe it or not, it's been 4 months since we've even looked at JCP. The last episode I put out where this zoo was concerned was to do with me getting to the bottom of the bug problems, basically. We had many issues with this zoo, you know, for about a 6-week period. It took me ages to get over it and get through it. I managed to do that, and that was the last episode, basically. I'm back in JCP because I was saying in the last episode of Tropical Wings Zoo that I want to finish this project. I don't just want it to, you know, die and be left and forgotten about. You know, Highland Zoo, that happened with that project, and I was gutted that we couldn't finish that zoo. It simply just couldn't build in that. This I can build in. I've just kind of neglected it for a little while, and what I wanted to do today was basically address the future of this zoo, the potential avenues I'm going to take to kind of get back to this project, and obviously get you guys involved again, because at the end of the day this is a community build. This zoo is your zoo. Every single thing that we've built in this zoo has been suggestions and ideas that you guys have been put forward over a long period, and we absolutely love this project. I know that people are a big fan of this project. I get asked about it a lot, especially if it's going to come back and whatnot, and I have been trying my hardest to bring it back. I started Tropical Wings Zoo because of the issues I was having with this project. I'd wanted to do that Tropical Wings Zoo project anyway, but I started it because I didn't know when I was going to bring JCP back. Tropical Wings Zoo now has kind of taken over a little bit because it is the project we're all really invested in, but I want to finish off JCP as well as build in Tropical Wings. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to balance the two zoos. I'm really not, because obviously we all know that because of my attention to detail and my my want to build realistic projects and basically kind of take the game as far as it can go, really stretch the ability and sort of like and just kind of like stretch out what the game's capable of doing. I like to really test it. My build take a long time. For those that watch that update, you're going to see that the next few projects in Tropical Wings are going to be really intense. They're going to be very difficult things to achieve, but you know, that's the whole point, isn't it, of making these series, is you've really got to test yourself. But like I've said, and I'm going to repeat it, I want to finish JCP, and so I want to jump in today and just talk to you about how I see the future of this project. Now, I still have my notes, you know, I still have suggestions that you guys have put in, but I feel like because it's been 4 months, I feel like the comment section on this, I want you all to get massively involved again in leaving your suggestions, leaving your animal suggestions, your build suggestions, what you'd like to see me do next. Now, I'm going to cover a few things today that might sort of negate some of your ideas. It might kind of rein some of it in as well, because the reason for this is because I want to finish this project. I don't want to kind of go for another year and hit another load of problems either. So I'm going to talk to you about how I'm going to streamline this project and basically try to make it a bit easier for us to jump in again. So let's talk about it, my friends. Let's really jump in and talk about where we're going to take Tropical Wings next. So Jamii Conservation Park next. So this is JCP. If you're if you're a new subscriber and you don't know anything about JCP, I would honestly advise you to go all the way back to episode 1, give it a watch, maybe binge it, you know, skip through and then jump in. Essentially, this zoo is all based on suggestion you, the community, put forward to me. So this is JCP, this is where we're at now. I'll quickly go over it because it has been 4 months, but this is the main entrance right here. We've got Lemur Island here. This is some back lot stuff, which is sort of like our tree nursery and where we grow some of our crops and whatnot. Obviously, we've then got our flamingos down here. We have got like our wild garden here, and then we enter this sort of central plaza, which is where it links up all the different places in the zoo. Down here is obviously the reptarium. This was the very first part of the zoo that was built. This is where Toby, the zoo's ambassador, lives, who is a Galapagos tortoise. We've got our secondary sort of reptile house here that links up the main zoo. We've got camels, we've got gemsbok, we've got our wild dogs in here. This is going to be sort of like an into Africa area, and then up this this end we've got our North American area, you know, with our bears, our wolves, bison, pronghorn, and then here is our tropical house, and we've got an outdoor area for our jaguar, and tapirs over here. This is where the anteaters live. There's so much going on obviously in this zoo, and for the regulars, you know all this, you know exactly what this project's about. But what I want to talk about today is you know, obviously I've solved the problems, I've got to the bottom of it, but why have I not been building in JCP? And the biggest problem why I've not been building in it is because it's very difficult to build in. What I mean by this is because there's so much attention to detail. There's so many things I've done in this zoo that really has stretched the game to probably its limits, that it runs quite slow. So when you are building, there's a lot of stop-start. You know, I say this all the time, I have a very, very good computer, but even I get some frame drops when I'm trying to build in the project. It's quite difficult, it really, really is. So one of the big things that and one of the reasons I've not been building is just because where it is so difficult to build, I don't have the patience. You know, sometimes I'll be trying to build something and I'll get a freeze, and it'll freeze for a minute or two, and then you can't do anything for that time. And it is very frustrating to build in a project when you can't just really crack on with what you want to crack on with, which is one of the reasons why, you know, we started opening up these big areas, because the clear space is easier to build in. But there's still plenty in the zoo that needs finishing. There's plenty in the zoo that needs updating. So my idea going forward, and some people might like this and some people might not like this, but my idea going forward is, I feel like JCP has reached a point where the zoo would maybe look at some of the habitats and think that could do with an upgrade, that could do with an update. So what I'm thinking of doing is deleting some of the habitats and rebuilding them, but trying to rebuild them more efficiently. So using less pieces, still going to be just as detailed, still going to look just as beautiful, but basically just trying to streamline the pieces. There's a lot of stuff like that could do with this. The lemur house is one in particular. I just feel like the reason I have issues in that area, and this is something I've just learned as I've been going along, I'll zoom in on the lemur house so that I can kind of explain this a bit better. But basically something that I've learned during the course of this game is that if you use pieces that are climbable objects to the animals, even if they're not inside the habitat but they are part of the habitat's perimeter, they get included as a climbable piece, and this will slow the game down, because the game is basically the way the game operates is it will treat that as a climbable piece even though the animals don't use it. And obviously because it's a climbable piece, it requires the game to process that, and if you're processing all these units, it becomes an issue. And now the lemur house is a really, really good example of this. All these wooden pieces on the front here, all these beams get included as climbable pieces. All of this stuff along here that basically is for the plants and whatnot gets included as climbable pieces. All these wooden pieces here, all of the wood around the window all gets included as a climbable piece. And so I'm sure you can all imagine this area here is A, impossible to work on, and B, just runs very, very slow, especially when we got guests in the zoo. And I think this is one of the reasons why I'm getting crashes. And so this goes for many parts of the zoo. It really does. Obviously we've got this stuff up the back with the bears. All of this wood, lucky enough, doesn't actually get included as a climbable piece, and the reason it doesn't is because of the strategic placement of the rocks. But there was that same wood along this wall up here. The bears started using it as climbing piece, even though we've got these grates at the top that should stop the bears from being able to be able to climb. They were still managing to climb and getting into the walls, and it was really, really messing with the game, because really this should stop it, but they were still managing to get through. There's lots of instances where this is concerned. These pieces up here on the roof, they get included as climbable pieces because it's part of the habitat, and there's lots of examples of this basically in the zoo. It's become an issue. Now obviously the wood is just so nice to work with in the game, which is why I work with it a lot. And plus this project we were aiming at using materials that had been recycled and things like that, and so we were trying to go green, and obviously wooden materials and whatnot kind of like point towards that. So yeah, it is a shame. It is a bit of a shame, but I am going to have to really think about streamlining a lot of these habitats. And so I think what I might do for the next couple of episodes is really just jump in. I'll show you what's there. We'll come away. We'll come back, and it'll be the rebuild. Of what we've done. I just feel like there's certain bits in the zoo that could be done better. Could be done. With less pieces. We could be a bit more clever about it, and I feel like that's where we're at. And then after that, after we've kind of reached that point, then we can really start working on the new exhibits and the new habitats. Now, obviously, I've kind of like I've sectioned the whole map out with the anticipation that we would use the whole map, but because of having the Tropical Wings project, and because there's other things I want to do with Planet Zoo, I did start the Nature's Wonders series. I've only done one episode of that. I want to do far more episodes of the Nature's Wonders series, because the first episode went down so well. People really liked it. It was something a bit different. I really want to do more of that, and I want to do more one-off builds as well. I did start that workshop series like ages ago, probably 8 months ago now. I did 2 builds on it. And then because I've been busy with these projects, I haven't been able to do any more. But I'd love to do more of that, because I was putting those on the workshop and people were really enjoying them. So I want to do like a lot more sort of like one-off stuff, as well as the big main series. But obviously there's going to be new games coming out that I would like to play on the channel. I do have other series that I'm concentrating on as well, because I like to have a bit of diversity on the channel. So it is quite difficult. So what I'm going to say is, I think together we should come up with a new perimeter to the zoo. I don't think we should use all of these squares back here. Potentially, I'm thinking from this point here, if we were to go all the way up to maybe this point here, come across and then down, it leaves enough room to do quite a bit. We could still do some African animals down here, and in here we could still do an Australian sort of section if you wanted at the top. We can still put the animal hospital in and whatnot, but then it just gives us the opportunity to actually finish the zoo. I just feel like if we were to build all the way out into the edges, we will never finish this project. And plus, it'll probably get to a point where it'll be impossible to work on. Like I've already said, it's not easy to work on at the moment because of how slow it can be in places, and and that's not fun for anybody. It's not fun for me because it's difficult to build, and it's not fun for you guys because you have to wait a long time for a new episode. So yeah, I just wanted to basically address those issues and the problems that we've been having with JCP. I'd love to hear what you make of my idea for potentially taking the series forward. I really would. I'd like any feedback is welcome. If you don't like it, tell me. I really don't mind if you don't like the idea of me potentially removing a building or removing something. I am happy to not do that. I just feel like for me as the builder, it might be the best thing to do where certain parts of the zoo are concerned. I might have to start taking a very similar approach with this zoo as I have done with Tropical Wings, where I'll do a lot of the stuff that's guest facing. We'll heavily detail it, but the stuff that isn't guest facing, we won't. We'll basically leave that, and then right at the last minute I'll go in and I'll touch it all up and get it all sorted out, so then when we do that final zoo tour, then it's all lovely, it all looks lovely, it's all detailed and looking beautiful. But it's funny, I jumped into this zoo and I genuinely, even the Tropical Wing Zoo, I feel like my build style has even improved since this, and this is only 4 months ago, but there are still parts of this zoo that are so beautiful. Like this Lemur Island is just stunning, it really is, but it's just a shame that it's such a pain in the backside where the zoo's concerned. But it's stunning, and this shop, there's this restaurant here, like I didn't realise, I genuinely, because I've been away from this zoo for so long, I didn't realise just what a beautiful little zoo we'd built together. I really forgot about it. As you can see, look at all these the notice boards. They're so outdated, because where we've got all of the new where we've got all the new notice boards and stuff, we can redo all this, and this will reduce pieces massively. You know, I did already start on that. You know, I did put pictures up where I'd already started on it. As you can see, look, all the ticket offices and whatnot. I did all start on pricing and whatnot, but that will reduce pieces quite a bit. You know, I've just got to find a way. I've just basically got to find a way of streamlining this project and getting it finished and getting it done, so that you know, we can wrap this up, and then I guess we could just work on Tropical Wings a bit more. I am going to do a season 2 of the community project, because I genuinely, I love, as much as I'm enjoying Tropical Wings, I find it harder to build in Tropical Wings. And the reason for that is because it's on me. I've got to come up with the ideas. I know I've streamlined it with the animal list and whatnot, but I've got to come up with the ideas. I've got to find a habitat design that I like. I've got to really work with it. And I'm trying to really push myself with that as well, where the use of terrain and water and the way that I'm doing the planting is all very, very different. So yeah, but whereas this, I used to love coming into this because you guys had given me the ideas already, so I could just jump in and be like, okay, I know what people want, it's easy for me to build, let's crack on and get going. And I do miss building in JCP, and that's why I want to get back to it, and I want to get this series finished. Because remember as well, when the series is finished, we're going to do a big zoo tour, but then I'm going to release it on the workshop for you guys to enjoy yourselves. But yeah, I am going to do a season 2 of this community build project, just because I love the interaction and I love the ideas that you guys give me. But that's it really. I just wanted to jump in, give you a quick update on JCP, where we're going to go with it going forward. Like I say, I am going to get the zoo finished, but I just have a few things to do, I guess, on it first before we can do that. So what I need from you this time around in the comment section is just let me know what you make of today's episode. You know, let me know what you make of you know, the issues I face, if you think I'm dealing with it the right way. If you feel like what I've suggested isn't right, then try to give me suggestions. You know, you know, helpful feedback. You know, if you're going to critique something, just make sure it's constructive and that the feedback is bang on, so that helps me massively. And then secondly, just start giving me some ideas for what you'd like to see next. Obviously, I know in here we said we were going to do an animal hospital. I did start building one, but honestly the scale was so off, and it caused problems with the game. I covered that in an episode ages ago. And then over here we were going to start doing sort of like a tropical part to the African area. I think we were going to do something like the gorillas and the pygmy hippos, if memory serves me correct, and I was going to do a small mammal house over here as well. We've obviously had new animals added to the game since we jumped into this project, so it will be interesting, to be honest with you, to see what we could come up with some of the new animals as well. But yeah, just honestly, just start throwing your ideas at me once again. That would be very, very much appreciated. And yeah, the only thing I'm going to say now before we sign out is apologise for it taking so long for me to jump in and get cracking on JCP. You know, if you're not a content creator, then you won't understand this, but it takes a lot out of you. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of mental capacity to build these big projects and do these zoos. I'm a dad as well. You know, at the end of the day, I do have a daughter to be bringing up, and she requires a lot of, you know, my attention, and you know, I just don't have the time that I once had where these projects were concerned. You have to remember, when I started JCP, Emily wasn't here, so you know, it is difficult, you know, for me to find the time to do this stuff. But you know, when I've got time, I do love jumping in and building these projects. But you know, just try to understand it. It takes a lot out of us content creators building this stuff, and you know, if I was doing it full time, it might be a bit different, but I'm not. So I just you know, I do it when I've got time. So that's one of the reasons why I've kind of been away, and obviously been lots of issues with this zoo where, you know, where it's actually concerned. And you know, hopefully we can streamline it and get past that. We'll get back to getting JCP up and running, and you, the community, can get back involved with this stuff on the channel. But my friends, if you are new to the channel, you've enjoyed this, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Drop me a like on the video as well. We're about 100 subs away from the magical 2k mark. I've been waiting for that 2k sort of subs for a while, but not far away. A few builds and I reckon we might get there. But my friends, check that description box if you want to join the Discord. It's a really fun community over there. It's lovely likely to interact with you guys, so yeah, feel free to do that, and you'll find my other socials there as well. But until next time, my friends, you make sure you stay safe, stay humble, and I'll see you real soon for some more Jamii Conservation Park.